So as we move from measure to indicator, we also have to shift our understanding about how these indicators get used, and therefore what's a great indicator for us to be employing in our scorecard. And the issue is this, that in scorecards and performance measurement, we tend to be more worried about the trend than the absolute number. So our number of customer complaints going up, staying constant, going down, as opposed to the absolute number. So if I take an example of, say, employee satisfaction, if I take a look at the actual number, it's often jagged. The data is all over the place. And if I were to do my assessment at any point in time, I'd have a different feeling about how this activity is occurring. That's the audit or assessment view. In the performance management view, we're worried about what the trend is across that line. So the trend tells us how we're managing and how we can predict or expect the performance to go in the future. So it's a different mindset. We still are after the goal of future fit, but using the trend, I can understand if I'm moving in the right direction or not. To make trends work, I actually have to begin worrying about the signal strength or quality of the indicator I'm using to be indicative of the underlying issue. So think of your cell phone bill, right? If you're dealing with a 5-star or 5-bar signal strength, you feel confident in what you're talking about. If you only have 1 or 2 bars, maybe I don't want to be negotiating a new loan or mortgage on my house. So the signal strength is weak enough that the person at the other end might not hear. It's the same with our indicators. In some cases, we have indicators that have strong signal strength. In other cases, it's quite weak. So how do we measure signal strength? Well, there's 5 attributes that we look for. First off, is that indicator that we're recommending relevant? In other words, does it have a relationship to the issue being monitored? Secondly, is it actually measurable? Do we have data about it, or can that data be cost effectively attained? Is it predictive? In other words, if I measure that indicator, is it predictive of how the underlying system will work, and is it predictive of what might occur in the future? Fourth, is it auditable? In other words, can I come in and validate that data to make sure that it's accurate, not made up by someone? And then finally, is it comparable? In other words, can I use it across all regions, time zones, brands, entities, situations? And if it is, then it's a useful measure. If it's weak, not so much. So the idea is we typically give an indicator a score out of 5 for each of these 5 attributes, and then use the average to report back signal strength. So now leadership, is, if they're looking at this particular indicator, can go, oh, it's a 3-bar indicator. I can use that to make management decisions, but not to, I don't know, hire and fire people. Oh, it's a 1-bar indicator. Yeah, you know what, it's indicative, but I need to do more detailed investigation before I make any decisions. So the idea of signal strength allows us to go forward with any available data on the understanding that management can make an informed decision about whether they use that data for whatever the issue is at hand.